Please give another round of applause. And allow me to welcome you once again for this Stori Kam during our lunch hour. This is a second seminar series, and we have a very important topic that we're going to talk about today with a very intelligent speaker. And our topic today, ladies and gentlemen, will be based on Wantok-Centred Framework for nation building, in the case of the Solomon Islands. Let me repeat the topic. Wantok-Centred Framework for nation building, the case of Solomon Islands. And allow me to read the abstract so that you can have some brief information of what we are going to talk about today. The abstract reads, this paper presents a framework for developing national unity in nation building programs in the Solomon Islands. By drawing on a qualitative study conducted with 4 rural and urban schools and 2 communities, both urban and rural, in the Solomon Islands, the study reveals that Wantok-centered relationships are a unifying symbol that holds the family unit, clan, tribe, church members, and people with the state. In order to strengthen Wantog relationships that create a peaceful coexistence in the Solomon Islands, this presentation proposes a Wantok framework to underpin the development of national unity in the Solomon Islands. It introduces 3 domains: democratic, spiritual, and cultural, which are all centered in the notion of relationality. It demonstrates how relationality is central to the Wantok framework for connecting people through the pidgin language, cultural, spiritual, and democratic values. The presentation concludes by demonstrating how the framework can promote Wantok-centric identities, values, and relationships in the Solomon Islands for nation building. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce the speaker to you, who will be presenting on that topic as per abstract which I have already read. Our presenter today, ladies and gentlemen, is an educator by profession with the following academic qualifications: Doctor of Philosophy or PhD attained from the University of the South Pacific, Master of Education and Postgraduate Diploma in Education, both attained from Victoria University of Wellington, and then Postgraduate Certificate in Tertiary Teaching and the first degree of Bachelor of Education Secondary from the University of the South Pacific. His Diploma in Teaching Secondary and Certificate in Teaching Primary were attained from the Solomon Islands College of Higher Education. He has gained his wealth of experience during his tenure as the Deputy Director, the Institute of Public Administration and Management, Solomon Islands Government, Principal, National Secondary Schools and Provincial Secondary Schools and Community High Schools with the Solomon Islands Teaching Service, and Headmaster in various primary schools around the Solomon Islands Teaching Services. At the University of the South Pacific, he was and is employed as a senior lecturer in education discipline for all degree students from undergraduate to master degree courses, and also involved in supervising and marking master and PhD theses with School of Education. And currently, ladies and gentlemen, he is the director of the Solomon Islands University of the South Pacific campus. Please join me in welcome our speaker, Dr. Billy Fito'o.
Morning, everyone. I'm happy for come and story with me. Well, this for the time. I should be lunch over you, but you make him time for come. And you me talk story. Me Stori Kam, and you for Stori Kam too. This for a series. You may call him law Stori Kam series. And I'm good for you me story together. So me happy for doing a bit of presentation and a topic where MC have me read him or tell him come for you me. In fact, this one have opportunity for this for a series, some opportunity for everyone for a little bit here some for information collected from other researchers, believe me, and previously you may Dr. David, where him now have me talk about migration. Why Solomon Islanders ought to migrate to Mars. This follow morning, by me talk about now Wantok-centered education for nation building. This follow research and the data by me present him from intensive study below me, 2014, and also that is where Miss have collect them no more when Miss have come around and story with them people. And me also use him document analysis for put them together or data here, and also desktop analysis number, where you just have to collect them from the readings time you work and you open the internet, and then looking at news informations that have me inform him this fella presentation. I think I'm come out. Me got a big presentation here, but by me try to be very short. The content by looking introduction of there, by me a little bit introduce him, and then by me talk a little bit about education, Solomon Islands, then history of nation states a bit, I'm not in detail, and then by me touch a little bit liberal, Republican national identity models, nation states, and by me talk a little bit about Pacific Islands, education for nation building, which usually call them citizenship education, and followed by a brief on Pacific Islands views on citizenship education, and then by me touch on now nation building frameworks, the Western perspectives, Western frameworks of nation building, and then followed by non-Western nation states perspectives about nation building, and then by me introducing views participants this fella study, and then by me introducing Wantok-Centred Framework, and then close with a summary. So that is the overall presentation that by me doing this fella afternoon. Now, as me earlier mentioned, this fella research and qualitative research, where me doing some fella interview or talk story with him. Other people blame me, and much of my data came out from intensive study where me doing 2014 for PhD below me, and then me using other sites, 2 sites here, Guadalcanal, and 2 sites Malaita, 2 fala bigger provinces, and also those that involve a lot with this tension. The reason is that why do tension have come? Why now people are fragment in everything? Why now there is no unity? So all this have triggered now this fella study. And also me using students, teachers, community leaders, and education officials for informing this fella study, or get data for informing this fella study. Well, implications of this fella study, or the rationales, and also purpose. Some fellow people blame me, Solomon, or to find him that state capacity or country for uniting people have a huge challenge, And all of us know why or what are those challenges. You may say about that. Sanga hem talk about that. Nanau hem talk about lokata Wakablahem, Agoro hem talk about that too. A huge challenge for uniting people. And also identity along ethnic and cultural group. The challenge, one of the challenges is that all of us, you may connect more on our ethnic groups, connect more to our tribes, connect more to people that you may associate with in terms of blood ties and all those stuff. You may connect too much more on that and forgot about this national identity. And also, you may get a challenge of multiple identities. You may, from different ethnic groups, you may speak different languages, and even we are divided by churches and religions, and those things have become a challenge to unity in the Solomon Islands. So those are some of the things where people blame me or talk about. I study from prayer, I mentioned him that one, when I'm doing study blame after the tension. Also results him about disunity. lack of tolerance by citizens. And you may find them that one. No anyone, we got him care for each other. Become a problem, and affect him now progress blaming law Solomon Islands as a country. You may also get deep social inequalities. If you look at the moment, you'll find that people that have things, there are people that doesn't have anything, they are a society, people that are looking selling, people that no looking selling, people that got land, people that no got land, all those things have become a challenge to our societies. No one addressed that. You may focus more on a lot of things without trying to look at small things that disconnect people in our societies and think that okay, but deep inside, it's not okay. So they study try for put them up, something that you may try for work on in order that you may come back to become a nation again. Now, there is a difference between a nation and states. You may always talk about nation-state. What is nation-state? Nation are people. States are systems, are boundaries. So people living in a boundary which is demarcated and recognized internationally and locally as well as a nation or as people of that particular location. So that is nation-state. And much of our strife focus more on the state and less on nations. That is why I thought in this study you will find that is where the challenge lies. The challenge lies on that two terms. One is more focused on, the other one is left out. We also have, and even if we have all those, we have limited effort to fix all those. The government even doesn't have the capacity to try and fix all those. So it became problematic in our societies. You will find from this study why I raised those. Education system, which country used for using as a medium for changing behaviors, for try and bringing people together as a nation, have not even tried and review what it has to accommodate all those. So those are challenges that nation blaming got. And this is not what I just say. It has become researched and people blame me right about, as me earlier highlighted, this fella. Education blow Solomon Islands, as you may say, and after colonial government, you may get one fella act, the 1978 Act, where him look after education for try and bringing people together as a nation, education for try and producing a knowledge, skills, attitudes, values that accommodate everybody. Usually in education, people might think about different things, but usually when education is introduced, you also in one factory where people teach, use him, lecture students. One box, everyone come with different colors, different behaviors. Time go in, come out there. Also remote people now, where act the same, do the same thing, have the same knowledge, have the same values. So that is the purpose of education. People getting into education, go through that system, came out and become people that perform or act or demonstrate or display similar attitudes, similar values. That is education. So education is used for nation building. As I've earlier mentioned, nation building is about people. Education teaches people so that they become people that are identified with one central thing. That central thing is lacking in the Solomon Islands. Looking at the education system, you'll find that there are stages of education that you may go through, and then we become who we are as we go through those systems. And that act governs all those capacity buildings that is required by the government. History of nation states. Now, states were assimilated under certain things. In the history, we know that there are certain philosophies, certain ideologies that are promoted and become values of its nation states. For instance, if you look at the history, you'll find that states connect to citizenship, who we are as citizens in a particular location. The recognition of a person, recognition that people of that state become part of. There is no person on earth that is not recognized under any society. We are all recognized under each nation state. And therefore, the principles and the values that are there are always promoted in schools, in systems, in order to bring people together, in order that people identify with those principles and values. And that is what happens. And in the origins of this, you'll find that the citizenship is referred to as a legal term. You become a citizen, you become part of the society. That's legal. You have the right to do whatever under the laws of the land. And those are the origins of nation states, people coming together to become part of one jurisdictions, recognizing of legal rights to participate, and also it represents people. A nation state represents people. Those people were identified with rules, laws, principles, and values of that nation state. So common factors underpinning the debate on relationship of the state and the individual is national identity, which relates to relate to now law forming a nation state, and also legal and political status of relationship, how we people relate to the state legally and politically, and also moral virtues and sense of belonging. Those are things that societies ought to start with. And in Western countries, those are values that are promoted in schools. Whatever there is a new idea needed for the society, education would be the entity that will promote that. They promote about rights, they promote about responsibilities, they have programs in schools that bring people together. That is why if you are in the 70s, if you have your education in the 70s, you will find that in all schools, you have to salute the flag every morning. You have to march in a school. You have to involve in sports activities regularly. It's not just a one-off thing. It's something that is part of the system, something that is part of the system. Those things are already missing in our society. So whenever there is something to be promoted, or an idea, or values, or principles that each country needs to promote it has to go through the education system. And system change according to what is being accepted by nation states. So you will find that education systems are very, very important to change or to bring people together as people of a nation or people of a state. So those liberal Republican ideas, national identity ideas were part of the curriculums of those countries. And we have experienced that too. But lately, those things disappeared. It disappeared from our systems. So those thinking, those ideas, those philosophies were produced from Locke's theories and Rousseau's theories, and producing now what currently used in democratic societies, the liberal thinking, Republican thinking, and also national identity thinkings. Those become part of our societies, and even laws are created from those ideas, those philosophies, those theories. Now, if you look at the John Locke's national theory, every man have the free and equal right to preserve his or her liberty. And that philosophy, that theory, become part of those countries' curriculums. Similar to the Republicans' model, which is from Aristotle's theory. The arete, the goodness or virtue to fit people in society. That's when the idea of responsibilities, duties, and respect, all those become part of that theory. And those are translated into curriculums and taught in our schools. Previously, we have all those, but I don't know whether they still exist. So those are things that came from those theories, which form nation states. The national identity model is education for nation building, trying to put people together as one people. We see ourselves as Solomon Islanders. We see ourselves as people that have one goal, that live under certain principles and live under one law. Connect together as people because we are part of a nation. Those are things that provide for nation building, that provide for national identity. There is weakness in national identity. People see themselves along their ethnic lines. Any reason why that happens? Yes, there is. The common thinking of coming together, sharing, is not about people from different places. It's about sharing with our group members, sharing with their family, sharing with communities that you may be associated with. Those are things that hamstrung, not about anything nationally. So that is weaknesses that we have here. I identified myself with my group because my survival comes from them. If me no got him food, brother blow me by giving me food. Yeah? If me no got him school fee, auntie blow me by come helping me. Yeah? That is why me connect with my family than the state. The state in the Solomon Islands, you may look him also for only the few privileged. The rest, no. You may try to associate it with nations, but nation, you may not get him any direct benefit from. Although you may get him direct benefit, but as thinking, Solomon Island thinking that what me get him, hemblo those that me associate with. What government hem got him for those that are close to the government only. So that one have make people for no really link with him government, or link only with him family members blogeta. Or white man, time you grow old, ota garem house or a elderly homes where people by ota go stay there, government by feed him by give him medicine for give him support for until ota die. Yumi no more. Yumi no more. Family blow me no more, but him look after me go me die. Time is sick. So that is why people now really consider government as a part locata. Or consider them no more relatives, ethnic groups, or some part locata. So that is a weakness. That is a challenge that you got in Los Solomon Islands. So how now by you change him, that fella thinking, those perspectives. So nationality is about people's collective destiny. We become part of a destiny. We become part of one goal. We become part of one purpose. That is nationality. And so that collective ideas, that collective living together, that collective destiny, him need to be promoted. Him need to be looked after well. So how now by me doing that one? So education for nation building. Him authors have a column of citizenship education. Educating people about the values that nations sort of like forgotten. People need forgotten. That one him lacking. If the government him put them up one fella poster or one fella advertisement or one fella board upload today, time him up, 2-3 minutes later, I have to pull him down to Yemen, Humilical society. No anyone him respect them, things blow nation, because you know come together as a country or as a nation. You may separate. You may different in a lot of ways. That difference you may not solve him yet. So citizenship education now, nation states sort of use him for try for putting people together. What now really a challenge where you must try for promote him inside the societies so that you may come back to become one people. What now you must do? If there is anything that hence have a solve him other things here, education where me talent finish, I'm always a solution. But is education blame him catered for everything that me mentioned, everything that society have needed? May be or may not. Education have need for step up in a lot of ways to accommodate the needs of our society. Much of our needs is behavioral. Much of our need is more on nation building, not state building. Not state building. It's about nation building. You teach people about businesses. You teach people about the systems. You train people to become entrepreneurs. You train people to become people that can grow and progress. But you never train people to respect each other. The society never trained people to change their behaviors. Society never developed people who can destroy the economy, just for an instance. That was no problem. We just come from a meeting, a launch of ADP reports. And I'll talk about how country blooming go down. I want to talk about how UMI survey progress or the projections of the percentage that UMI grow lo economy blame. If me no come back early for this follow presentation, but me say, you follow scanning society finish, you follow scanning Solomon Island finish for survey. What now really the problem? Is it about money or is it about behaviors? If you scan society and if these international organizations or the scanning societies, from history, you will find that behaviors destroy the economy. Behaviors. The more we try to progress, behaviors destroy it. So they have to scan the society. They have to scan our environment in order to see exactly what is the challenge. So the challenge is not about having a lot of money. It's about the behavior. It's about how we can connect together to respect each other and respect businesses. That's an example that I've just relayed. You put up a notice board today or pulum dan. You try to do this tomorrow, that you know, look in that one. So nation building is very, very important. State building later. Focus on nation building. And you mean by looking progress. But I may come to that later. So education is about conforming citizens into tenet of values that by him progress in people, by him putting people together, that people identify with. Me, Solomon Islander, I respect everyone, even if good that we are diverse, because diversity by you mean looking that you me become a big family. A big family. It's not about people from Malaita, it's not about people from Guadalcanal, it's not about people from the Western Province, from the Eastern Provinces. No, it's about Solomon Islanders. How can we become Solomon Islanders? What do we identify with? Is it about our tribes, our ethnicity, our churches? What is it that we are Solomon Islanders? So those are questions that beg for answers. We need to understand human beings and how human beings relate to each other. And that is what is about nation states. There are a lot of things that we need to work on. Euro-Centric nation building frameworks. It's about citizenship frameworks. So if you look at if you study about nation building, Euro-Centric, Anglo-Centric frameworks, you will find that they base their nation building on values and beliefs that they thought will bring people together. What is our belief that will bring us together? So Euro-Centric frameworks consider status. Your status as a Solomon Islander is an important thing. Your legality of being a Solomon Islander is important. Your freedom to participate as Solomon Islander is important. So they promote that in their schools. And that is the framework that they use. A framework to bring people together. They look at the legal status, the social, political, and economic rights that people have. Considering Solomon Islands, trying to connect that, what are our rights? What are our economic rights? The economists around here might answer that. What are our political rights? What are our social rights? My right as a citizen of Solomon Island is to have a clean environment. Do we have a clean environment? My right as a Solomon Islander is to ride on tar seal without potholes. Do we have that? My right is to have proper medicines, to have proper and high-tech clinics and hospitals. Do we have that? My right as a Solomon Islander is to have a job. Do I have that? So a lot of questions begged for answers. Who will address that? So those are our rights, our economic rights, our social rights, our political rights. So we are bogged under certain things that cannot let our head up from. Yumi talem yumi Solomon Islander, but yumi sasavano mo. How now by me identify, how may I relate with a state where me have make me no garam anything. So question say, nation state is about relationship. It's about individual community relationship with the state. It's nation state. Yes, you may connected now, but what's way? Rights play me as individuals, am taken care of. By you stay also now, nations will Solomon Island, by you breathe him dust all the way now. Is that our right to breathe dust? So those are questions that begged for answers. Non-Western states often relate more with the rights or freedoms, as I've earlier alluded to. They are different. They are more on morality and spirituality. Ourselves, we recognize and we are connected more and very sensitive with our environments. You mean other spiritual beings here, even when Christianity or other religions not come yet, you be connected with everything now. If me look at someone have spoil environment, by me not feel happy now, because me connected to those environment. I connect to the trees, I connect to the animal on the land, I connect to streams, I connect to hills. Those are my connections. And we are being connected and related spiritually. Morally, Yumi, very strict in our approach, in our relationships, in our day-to-day conversations. We are very strict. It's about values that help keeping society safe. As I earlier mentioned, if brother blow me, sister blow me, auntie blow me, uncle blow me, tribesman blow me, I'm not around. Why me no secure no more? I say Solomon Islander. Why me no secure? Because if me no got him anything, or got no more by me kekaya, or no more by giving me food. So relationship are very, very strong. Yeah? And how now by me put them together a nation like Solomon Islands, where you may fragment, and people look him or say, I'm hard too much for come together. No? There is always ways, way out in everything. So, now how you may view things as a nation. Pacific Islanders' views about nation building, nationality, citizenship. Mi fala lo kwarai, mi fala kolem lo ngwaini fully, a person of place, rightful person of place. Kegiona have mentioned him. Ngwaini fully symbolize stability. A person symbolizes stability. Ngwaini fully symbolize peace. A person symbolizes peace. It's not about arrogance. It's not about strife. is about peace. And do we promote that? Wine fully is about unity. Tuofikua. Unity. That is what we see as a person in our society. Now that is not what is happening. A person is interpreted differently. A person associated with a lot of things in society, material things, and when people were respected, were people that have money. If any honorable stand law here, you will run everyone, or me, but run too. Because now how you may identify a respected person. That is how we respect them. Respect for material things. Or people with titles. Oh, Pastor na come. Oh, Doctor na arrive here. Then everyone respect na. Our interpretation of a person in society, a person of a place, is a person with produce unity, a person that brings peace, a person that shares. That is a tradition. Can we have those values in our curriculums to promote to our children? Those are questions that begs for answers. In Fiji, an example from Fiji, here I quote from Naisilisili. Personhood is someone that have the freedom to participate in affairs of a society, who have responsibilities, assume responsibility to lead, assume responsibility to organize, assume responsibility to coordinate, assume responsibility to share, assume responsibility to protect. That is a citizen, and that is a good person. That is what is meant by good. Good can be interpreted differently. I might interpret good differently from how you interpret good. But the basic understanding about good is what we have gone through and have shared. So those are things that another example from Fiji here. In Fiji, citizens is concerned with responsibilities of speaking the truth. Currently, everyone lo solo, if I want to talk about anyone, about a man for life. If anyone's story come out there, mania kon man na that one. And every society, by no respect him anybody that ought to call him lo kon man or man for life. So a citizen can be a person that speaks the truth. A citizen of a place is a person that people respect them. Even in education, we Pacific Islanders see and delivered education differently in our societies. We delivered differently. Western cultures delivered education in classrooms, four corners. Our education and pedagogies are different. We teach good values, good attitudes, how people unite together in secret places, in places that there is no one. We teach good values at the seashore. We teach good skills in the forest. So those are places of teachings, not just in the classroom. So even places or pedagogies are different. And to attain good values, attain good skills to help in societies, needs also to reconsider. Thinking about, I've been teaching for a while, so I teach and throw things there, and children, if you're strong, you take them. If you're not strong, worry blame you. You me, lo society blame me, no more. anyone have not strong now, but we try for build him. Build him go him strong. Build him character blame, build him skills blame, building a talents blame to become strong. Modern education blame me now have no more. Have now me say, yeah, classroom, me come teach, me throw out the books for you follow students, you follow go ahead, you take him, you not take him, worry blame you now. And that is our system, operated in our societies. Can we change that? It can be changed in order to provide for values that you may go through. We take him time, so we try to finish him no more. As me earlier stated, me got a big presentation, yeah, but you may short them no more. So, how now you may have putting people together? Is there a way out for us? I've looked at the term Wantog. I've looked and studied the term Wantog, and I thought that we could use that as a framework for changing, for bringing people together. You know what? The term Wantog can come from our pidgin language. Nation states usually use language to put together people. Wantog originated from the time when colonialism established or at the start of Solomon Islands, a time where religion, outside religion, Christianity, have come in the Solomon Islands, and a time when culture became still dominant. When the three come together, have now producing this fella pidgin language. People believe me, were to go out, to the plantations with different backgrounds, with different languages, or to come and form that fella language now. But we use him now as our medium of communication. So the three are connected in one certain interjections. What are connect now there? So time three fella are connected, and produce him now this fella language where you may use him. Some for language word inside more, or the mother tongue blame inside more. Some for English word come in more, and Christianity where him try for teaching people about Bible, him come in too. So those three come together, and then that follow word him come out as a word that connects us. One talk. We speak the same language, the pidgin language. So I thought this should be promoted. So I used that as a framework to deliver, to try and build people in order that they become nationally conscious. So the Wantok-Centric Framework is because of that. There are here emerged from the meeting contact of colonialism, Christianity, and indigenous cultures. Wantog or Wantogism is defined as a set of obligations between people who are related to each other by common language, ethnicity, and district. Outsiders have different cultural persuasion and usually perceive Wantogism as a form of nepotism that endows corruptions and undermines political stability. Those are outside thinking. But in our thinking, Wantog system plays an important part in our society. It connects us. It connects people from everywhere in the Solomons. So that pidgin should be used as a value that has to be promoted. And outside, and from those pidgin, we have values that should be included in our curriculums. What are those? Like, when we go through the challenges we have experienced, we know that those challenges were solved because of the system of connecting with our people together, and we help each other. That is the connections that we need. When there were hardship, when there were displaces, the Wantog come in and solve the challenges. So that is why it is important to use Pidgin and the term Wantog as an avenue to solve our disunities. The framework is an integrative and inclusive of values of culture. We have to, because of that intersections, we have cultures, values, Christian values, and democratic values together. Those values influence us. You cannot do away with our modern system. You cannot. We live in this system and we adopt to this system. It has to be promoted. The church values need to be promoted in our societies, and our cultural values need to be promoted. Those three were very, very important to our lives as Solomon Islanders. So those are things that we need to promote in this Wantok-Centred Framework. So that is the framework I have used. Wantok-centered citizenship, Hemlo Middle, and Yimigaram democratic values, spiritual values, and cultural values. That framework needs to be promoted in our societies to bring people together. We shouldn't adopt one at the expense of the other two. We have to promote all of them in our systems, not just our national curriculums. It has to be promoted in our churches, in our villages, in our communities. And the government should try to put resources on it so that we start developing nations and not just states. A nation is us people. We need more of that in order to change our perspectives, so that we become Solomon Islanders and not those from Guadalcanal, Malaita, Western Province, Makira, Isabel. We are Solomon Islanders. We need to see ourselves as that. It will be very beautiful. It will be wonderful if we connect as Solomon Islanders and not as our ethnic groups. Thank you very much. I've taken a lot of time, so I have to stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Billy, for that very informative presentation on Wantok-Centred Framework for Nation Building. Now it's time for question, just as our presenter has mentioned that we are running against time. It's already 15 minutes past 1. We're allowing 3 questions. We have the microphone there if you can use. Just work down, please. This is your time to ask him any question regarding Wantok-Centred Framework as for nation building. Please do come up and ask our presenter for any question regarding the topic. Please do let us tell us your name, and also the question that you want our presenter to address. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just have a question here. My name is Lida Naluta. I just want to ask, what is your view on nation building concepts coming in from outside than from within, the country? What's your view on that? Thank you.
Thank you. That's an important question. There are a lot of interpretations now. referring to rights. A lot of rights coming in our country. That is why I base my framework according to the biblical principles, Christianity, the democratic values, and cultural values. Now, our laws, those who are lawyers here might explain a bit on that, but from my perspective, as your question, I think it's very early to accept a lot of views from outside for us. We are still immature to allow for a lot of practices. For example, there are rights that certain people have. But if someone asks me, man himself a maritime man no more. For me, a very conscious person about spiritual beliefs below me and cultural beliefs below me, by me say, no more man. Believe below me no also, yeah. How women have a maritime woman no more. By me say, just for my beliefs. That is why I say some of our teachings needed to be rooted in cultures, in Christian beliefs, and democracy. If we go democratic no more, by me accept them everything promoted outside here, which is by producing chaos now. Producing chaos in society. I was sitting, me stand up one time, and then someone appeared like a girl, and a male appeared like a girl. And then I start for Toro Stone Lohem. Now me look him say, hey, shooting. For me survey that one, because you be exposed outside. Yeah, man. For those inside the societies, Bro Solomon, what are not looking yet. So time by you come appear like that, by the Toro Stone and by the spoil him. Wait on, yeah. Him try for exercising motor rights blame, yeah, but people blame me no survey. So that is why him need for you me teaching people straight law curriculum blame me. Or else by him spoil him society. So that is why we say Wantok-Centred Framework, where him link him the three. Don't promote just one at the expense of the other two. Or me promote them no Christian values. What about democratic values where you live with him every day? Our laws have guided by those democratic values. What now? By doing him. By you know survive well, yeah? So the three him need to be promoted. But I'm very early too much for him to accept them some fellow things outside imposed by him. I mean, you may got him now. You may got him. But him still too early for us. So him need for more of nation building, teaching, awareness programs about what is here now, so that you must have accept them too, or some other countries. Am I right?
I think I don't have any question to say, but my point of view and my perspective, I'm really, I totally agree with the presentation, and that's we have been we conclude with the framework based on the three strata that you concluded, the democratic and the spiritual and the cultural. That's really make this the Wantok-Centred system here framework here for hemi good like hemi valid here for you me challenge below me now. Challenge below me in regards to the state or the nation building now. well, with everything you mention him is that the problem where you may face him is that we only like him if we look him those three areas, those stratas, both spiritual, cultural, and the democracy for making a Wantog system, for every aligned together, have you may have to look law the way we believe and the way the principle of belief and values where you may promote him, yeah? And I may always look law him. But if the nation we build, we continue build based on those cultural principles and spiritual principles and democracy principles, as imisabi, where him tribe nation here, where he may not come to frame him up to one sort of value inside, then our basis of Wantog system perhaps may still continue to be the diversity where he may experience him, where nation experience him this time. Because sometimes when we talk about diversity, it's different. Some they continue to promote their values is different, their ideologies is different, and their belief is totally different. So this what me look him now, our challenge, as I agree with what Dr. Hemitalem, all those stratas and all those this framework have to come together. But how now? Challenge for you and me as a nation. How now by me put them together? For you me work along one frame, belief, and one principles for you me put them together. This one of challenge for you me. And our nation now have me move. It's not moving like it's drawing forward. It's drawing back. So, Doctor, thank you too much. You enlighten the nation, the nation that we will sit down there. I think I have no me like comments. Thank you.
Thank you, MC, and thank you, Dr. Billy, for your presentation. We just like for you, Lebet share no more. All of us, a product of the socialization process, yeah? How you may behave, how you may think, due to the socialization process that you may go through since you may born, yeah? The society blow you me, and what my colleague had put him up here, and basically the process that we went through, yeah? So, me like him, you just go back, Lord, that for a model blow you, yeah? And a little bit, also briefly, no more, you may talk about behavior blaming today, yeah? Law society. I think lawlessness a little bit coming to society blame me, or a young pikinini, and I think every day in a society, him tell him about, you put him up on for a billboard, you go next day, what a stone him or what a graffiti, what a write on top, yeah? That's a sign of disrespect to what's happening in our society. And him talk about him, this one, Wantok-Centred Citizenship, how you miss have a build him oketaya for promoting national identity, blame me, yeah. Ting blow you no more me like him colleague for you just tell him which one lo oketaya you think you may need for strengthening him today for helping you me build him. Now this was a sense of national identity.
Thank you, colleague Dr. Patricia. In fact, there's a lot of weaknesses in law, the democratic domain. Yeah. Interpretation of rights have not really sink in well. People not really understand them. Democratic systems, people not really understand them. So I need a lot of teaching in our systems on that. For cultural values and Christian values, those are okay. But the only weakness on those that they are not compulsories in our secular institutions. They are left out. But for the current national systems, have needed for bringing back the national identity space. You may need him for bringing back the teaching where him require Yumi for socialize together as a country. What now by making him socialize, you may promote him through maybe volunteerism. Maybe schools, lo malaita go doing some voluntary work, lo Western Province. Schools, lo Goral Canal, maybe go doing some voluntary work, lo Makira. Schools, lo Goral Canal might have an annual or maybe have quarterly tournaments around Goral Canal. And then by come together as a country, lo here, lo capital. Those things have left out from our societies. Even for singing the national anthem inside los schools, have left out now. Even for March, before we fall March, yeah, anyone you primary or 70s, you have now for March. Even 80s, we are still March yet. Yaman Patricia. Losu by me fall March around him Hilyaman. By you look him go, you say now what now, police now March, yeah. But all those things are missing there, so they need to be promoted. That is why I thought the democratic values have need to be promoted. People interpret wrongly now the systems. And then if combined together with him the two which we allude to, and make a strong curriculum, a strong message where I am delivered, those societies where people ought to relate to, where people connect to. Am I right?
Thank you very much, Dr. Billy. I believe that brings us to the end of this seminar series. And I would like to wrap up whatever we have discussed or whatever we have heard from the presentation today. According to the presentation, the presentation was purposely done because of the gap of the behavior of the citizens in the Solomon Islands. That's why the model was used to help the individual, to help one another, building up the citizens using that framework, the Wantog system. I believe when we hear Wantog, our perception is changing to the other side of it, negativity. But we are so lucky today that Dr. Billy bring us back to our culture, to look at frame this Wantog as from a positive perspective in building the nation and individual citizens. I believe the model is very helpful because we cannot concentrate on spiritual alone, democracy alone, and culture alone. The three has to go together in order to build up our nation, and it's everyone's responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to our presenter today.